fucked up, dude. Still fucked up, bro. Alright. As you may already be aware, I have proven the existence of Santa Claus and dunked on every single Santa denier in existence. If at this point in your life you are still refusing to believe the existence of Santa Claus being a living, breathing creature of this earth, dude, then there really is no saving your soul and you are doomed for all eternity. Santa Claus is one of the most wholesome and magical beings our Earth has ever blessed to have, and the fact that you all deny his existence kind of breaks my heart a little bit and proves that you guys are nothing but a bunch of sick people. Thankfully, MatPat has logical reasoning and functioning brain cells and also knows about the existence of Santa Claus, and he's here to let us know how much of a true thug Santa Claus is. Film theory, the Christmas crimes of Santa Claus. Right, we've got the obvious one, burglary, breaking and entering, trespassing, right? There's probably some money laundering in there. Armed robbery, because he was running around hitting licks, dude. Absolute goon. Absolute demon of the north.
This Christmas, everyone is excited for Santa to arrive. Everyone
is running trains on every mom in the world. Is that a crime, dude?
But Matt,
because I should be serving life.
That is.
I'm cranky and overworked.
He's a theorist with a bone to pick.
Are we sure these Christmas cookies were locally sourced?
But the man on top
is this a
of
Rob
his
Schneider
naughty list
movie?
Is Santa himself.
When was the last time these elves got a lunch break? Do these stairs not have railings? Why is no one in this factory wearing PPE? I'm calling OSHA.
Will one grumpy theorist be able to stop Christmas from coming? Or will he learn that Santa is the biggest victim of all? Help me. It's a holiday story for the ages.
Yeah.
A very film theory Christmas. Rated PG, starting now.
Hello, Internet.
Starring
Welcome
Rob Schneider.
To Film Theory, the show that guarantees you'll be placed on the nice list if you hit the subscribe button. Tracing back to the 4th century...
I don't know, dude. I don't know, bro. I feel like it's too late for me now, dude. I'm so far down the naughty list. At this point, he had to put me on the nice list. Because there was no more room at the bottom of the naughty list. So he had to move me over to the nice list, dude. And I still got that train set.
You'll be placed on the nice list if you hit the subscribe button. Tracing back to the 4th century, the myth of Santa Claus has changed a lot
it's not a myth.
with the times. Over the centuries, Santa has undergone the most dramatic glow-up ever. Starting off as a kindly 4th century bishop named Nicholas who lived in what's now modern-day Turkey, transforming into a jolly bearded man who wears a red suit, lives in the North Pole, and stuffs himself down chimneys so he can deliver toys and eat all your cookies. It is quite the poke evolution. Anyway, from those beginnings, his modern mythos has been solidified by holiday classics like Miracle on 34th Street, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Silent Night, Deadly Night, and of course, Santa Claus Conquers the Street, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Silent Night, Deadly.
Y'all thought I was playing when I was talking about Santa walking around hitting licks like an absolute demon in the trenches, bro. You know he keep that thing on him. You know he stays strapped up, bro. That sack full of all of them goodies, bro, and you don't think one of them is a strap? Man, you know he keep that toolie on him.
Night, and of course, Santa Claus Conquers the Martians.
Quit playing. Santa Claus causes the Martians. Oh, if y'all have never experienced it, just you wait, bro. This is a movie. You want to talk about real cinema? Dude.
Everyone.
Leading us inevitably to the 1994 film, The Santa Claus, as well as its 2 sequels, which, aside from making people misspell Claus for the better part of 2 decades, also acts as the most in-depth look into the inner workings of his North Pole operation ever. And what these movies reveal is how shockingly dark it all is. I mean, the idea of Santa was always pure and simple, and nobody ever really stopped to think about the labor force of the elves, but here in 2021, we're more aware than ever as to the plight of employees and their working conditions. The workforce and our our understanding of it has come a long
So
way
he's a
since Santa
capitalist.
was popularized. So today, I wanted to put Santa
Damn,
under
dude.
some scrutiny. How are his working conditions up north? Do they meet by modern-day safety standards? And with people leaving their jobs en masse this year, should the
Who
elves be next?
cares?
Is the ultimate supply shortage gonna be coming from
And who cares about labor laws when you spread holiday cheer?
the North Pole itself, as Santa has job
What's a couple of
vacancies
workers'
result-
rights, dude? He's gifting train sets to kids, bro. Who cares about workers' rights, bro?
after
Come on now.
centuries of elf mistreatment. Well, ladies and gentlemen, get ready. This one's a doozy. In the Santa Claus movies, we learn a lot about the elf workforce in the North Pole. They're an immortal-ish race of workers who've been around since before the commercialization of Christmas and electricity and even toys as we know them.
Toys have to be delivered. I'm not gonna do it. It's not my job. I'm just an elf.
We hear in the Santa Claus 3 The Escape Clause that they're just an
Army of toy-building yes-men.
working for the big man, Santa himself.
Who's in charge here?
You are.
And from there, for the
What
rest
about
of
Santa Claus 2? When they make like a robot Santa and he turns into like a
the
Nazi.
entire series, the
What about
elves
that
are
one?
literally always working. As soon as one Christmas is over, they immediately start prepping for the next one without even having the luxury of a coffee break.
Excuse me, are we on a coffee break?
We don't drink coffee.
Then I guess the break is over.
That is not an okay mentality to have in the workplace. In 1970, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA, was established, which is responsible for ensuring safe and healthy work environments in the US. And they've been pretty darn successful at that, as they've reduced workplace deaths by 50% since being introduced. So what would OSHA have to say about the elves' insane work hours? Nothing, actually. OSHA doesn't regulate workplace breaks. That's actually governed by the Fair Labor Standards Act. So what does it say?
there's too
Nothing,
many.
again, but nothing in a different way. You see, it doesn't require employers
There are
to
too
give
many
breaks
people
to
in
their
this. I can't
employees.
keep
It
up.
does say that any employer making employees pull more than 40 hours is required to give them overtime pay, provided they're making less than 47,000.
They are in Santa's workshop. The concept of time is non-existent, okay?
$176 per year, but as far as total working hours and breaks, nothing actually governs that. If you're an employee, you're working at will based on your employer's standards, unless of course you belong to a union. Okay, so the long hours being pulled by the elves doesn't seem like it's gonna cause a big issue up at the North Pole, but even though OSHA doesn't limit
Look at
total
them!
by the elves,
Look at
doesn't seem like
them!
it's gonna cause a big issue up at the North
Smiling! They're having a great old time, dude. I don't know what you're talking about.
Pole. But even though
They love
OSHA
it.
doesn't limit total working hours, it does have safety standards in place. Things like needing to provide basic protections like guardrails and sprinklers, as well as equipment like eye shields and hard hats. And, as we hear in Santa Claus 3, many of Santa's workspaces are just currently not up to code.
This is not up to code, this building.
He's not wrong there either. When taking a look at the facilities, you'll notice that there aren't any guardrails installed to keep the elves safe from oncoming trains. Various cables hang around that could easily zap unsuspecting workers. And when
Okay, but
fires
aren't elves magical beings as well? Aren't they immune to injury?
break out in the third film, there aren't adequate sprinklers to take care of them. Also, I should probably
Do they
mention
feel
the rampaging
pain?
robot Santa. Now, I don't think it's explicitly
That's the
called out in
Nazi!
the OSHA rulebook, but employers preventing evil robot uprisings, yeah, I'd
That's
say it's kind of
fucking-
implied.
Dude,
Now,
that
while I
movie was
could go on
fucking
and list
wild,
more of the
bro.
infractions off and the
That
specific
movie, dude, that movie was wild, bro. He rounded up all of the elves, dude. Bro, the fact that they put that in a children's movie, Christmas, let alone, bro, rounding up the elves, bro, dude.
I'd say it's kind of implied. Now, while I could
That-
go on
dude,
and
that
list
movie
more of
was
the infractions
fucked.
off and the specific codes that are being broken, none of it matters. None of it. Santa is free to do whatever misdeeds he wants for one reason and one reason alone: the fact that his factory is in the North Pole. OSHA's jurisdiction only covers the 50 US states and other US territories. The North Pole, meanwhile, has no recognized government. It exists in international waters, even though Russia, Denmark, and Canada have all tried to stake a claim for it. As a result, the only rules and regulations that it needs to follow are those coming directly from the United Nations, specifically the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea from 1982. Based on these laws of the sea, the only way any authority can come in and mess with Santa's business is if they can prove that Santa is threatening the elves and forcing them into labor, which, gotta admit, despite the insane hours
Doesn't
and
look like
dangerous
it.
work conditions, never really seems to be the case for the elves.
Dude, I don't know. Did you see Santa with the strap? That wouldn't mess with homeboy, bro.
Motivational lines like this
All I want to see is busy, busy worker tushies.
are probably cause for an HR lawsuit, but it never seems like there's any sort
Look,
Busy worker
who's that?
tushies.
are probably cause
The Tooth Fairy. And I told y'all the Tooth Fairy's real as well, bro. There's the Easter Bunny right there.
for an HR lawsuit.
You
but
gotta
it
listen to
never
me.
seems like there's any sort of
They right
forced
there.
labor going on up there.
Santa's not real. He's right in front of you.
Unless, of course, you're talking about Santa himself. Big twist time, friends! You see, the only
What?
one being forced into labor by Santa's workshop is, ironically enough, Santa himself. In case you've forgotten the plot of this movie, our protagonist, Scott Calvin, surprises Santa one night, causing him to fall off an icy roof and die. When examining the body, Scott uncovers a note that tells him to put on the iconic red coat. He does it, which, unbeknownst to him, locks him in as the world's new Santa.
So when you put on the suit, he fell subject to the Santa Claus. Here.
The Santa Claus?
A clause, as in the last line of a contract. And putting on the suit and entering the sleigh, the wearer waives any and all rights to any previous identity, real or implied, and fully accepts the duties and responsibilities of Santa Claus.
What does that mean?
It means you put on the suit, you're the big guy. You read the card, you put on the suit that clearly falls under the Santa Claus, so now you're Santa, okay?
Now, this business card right here is just outright contract
Look at these
fraud. In
shady
order to
look at these shady business tactics. This is what capitalism has done to our world.
This business
Look
card
at
right
that,
here is just
forcing people into being Santa Claus, dude.
outright contract fraud. In order to have a legally binding contract, you need 4 key components. First, an offer and acceptance. Someone offers to do X in exchange for Y and the other person agrees. Second, you need mutual assent, basically just meaning that everyone is cool with there being a contract in place. Third is consent. Both parties are signing under their
We
own
love
free will.
consent.
No one's signing while feeling threatened or
Hell
being misled.
yeah.
And lastly, mutual contract consideration.
Pour one up for consent,
Consideration
baby.
just refers to the exchange of something of value from one party in return for the promise or service provided by the other. And the Santa Claus, spelled with an E, breaks pretty much each and every one of these things. First, there is no assent to there being a contract. In fact, Scott has no idea there's a contract on this thing. The fact that it's designed to look like a business card and that you need a super magnifying glass to read the clause makes it almost immediately fraudulent. From there, he's clearly not giving his consent. For the better part of the first hour of the movie, he is
Should have read the fine print.
constantly denying the fact that he's
Should've
Santa
read the
Claus.
fine print.
And lastly, there's no exchange of consideration. He puts on the suit to become Santa and what? He basically becomes an indentured servant for his entire life. He gets nothing in return. There is only take by the
He gets nothing in return. He gets the power of Christmas joy and holiday cheer, bro. What more could you want? What more could you want?
elves in the North Pole. So not
To me,
only is he
that
tricked
sounds
into
like a
signing his
win.
life away, he must then endure these massive unwanted changes to his body as he transforms into the quote-unquote ideal version of Santa Claus. That is not okay. There is no consent here. Also, his heart apparently beats upwards of 140 times per minute as it plays Jingle Bells on repeat. What's even weirder is that Jingle Bells was
Banger.
written in the 1850s, which makes me wonder what songs the early Santas had playing in their chests. I'm assuming it was Gregorian chants.
It was
But perhaps
Tupac.
worst of all is that he's now alienated from human society. He is deemed unfit to continue as a part of his family, and he has to leave everyone he loves in order to work 24/7 up at the North Pole. Put yourself in the place of Scott's ex-wife, who is justifiably concerned that her former husband has gained 100 pounds overnight, has grown
She just
a
doesn't
beard, and
understand.
is pretending to be
She won't understand what it is like being Santa Claus, okay? She just don't get it. She gotta stay out of men's business. That's what it is.
St. Nick. I mean, that is justifiable cause for concern. And as such, she works to suspend his visitation rights to their son. And then the elves encourage him to basically kidnap his son.
That's kind of trifling. Dude gains a little bit of weight and she's like, you know what? You don't get to see your son anymore. That's kind of fucked up.
Then the elves encourage him to basically kidnap his son.
Please, can I go, Bernard?
It's okay with me.
Bernard, despite undergoing the Santa training process with multiple other Santas in the past, continues to egg Scott on and assist in taking his kid away from his mother and stepdad for a full month without their
That
consent.
stepdad was soft, okay?
If I were to guess, Bernard did
That
this because he
stepdad
knew
was-
that it would
he's
cause
not
Scott's life to
stepdad
be in a
material.
shambles from this point forward. He is now wanted for kidnapping, and as such, will have to remain at the North Pole in order to work. As Bernard says earlier in the film,
Technically, is it really kidnapping if the son willingly begs to go? Is it really kidnapping at that point? Like, if the son wants to be there?
Tomorrow morning. You have 11 months.
Maybe, what is it? parental interference? Maybe that, dude, but I would say kidnapping.
Get your affairs in order and you're due back here Thanksgiving.
And when Scott doesn't do that, Bernard swoops in to close it out for him. And wouldn't you know, the police do send out dozens of cops to hunt Scott down, which leads to Scott being imprisoned. Sure, there's a special forces branch of elves that helps to free Scott, but this only makes things worse because now it means that Scott is an escapee from jail, which you know is gonna remain on his record.
I told y'all, bro.
Only get
Santa
worse
was
from there in
about
the
it.
sequels. If you thought that the first contract was fraudulent, wait until you see the Mrs. Claus, which requires pretty much an electron microscope to read.
Card holder acknowledges woman of his choosing. I gotta get married.
Yeah, when Scott agreed
And
to
he
this,
got a
it was
baddie.
totally a consensual
Who
contract
he got a
between all
baddie?
parties involved. In the Santa Claus 2, we learn that there's apparently a Mrs. Claus, with an E, which forces Scott to find a wife in 28 days. Otherwise, Christmas is just gone and forgotten. So Scott has to revert back to Tim Allen form and tricks a headstrong middle school principal named Carol to become
Woo-wee! He picked a great wife, dude.
his wife. The proposal scene here just hurts
Woo-wee.
so much because Carol is forced to say yes in front of an army of elves who know that she has to say yes or risk the end of Christmas. And if all this 40-day fiancé-esque behavior wasn't cancel-worthy enough, Santa then goes and does the exact same thing that happened to him. He drags her away from her home and essentially makes her break off all contact with her family because the secret of Christmas needs to be kept.
And I'm sure you have a perfectly good reason for shutting us out of your life.
Which, as we see in part 3,
I think it's a great
causes
reason.
Carol to, go figure,
She ended
become
up back
horrifically
blown out by
depressed.
Santa
so we've got
Claus.
both our Mr.
Hell
and
yeah.
Mrs. Claus both entrapped to fill their Christmas time roles. But to add insult to injury in true capitalist dystopia form, Santa is an employee who just doesn't matter. Santa is expendable. Normally in most Santa Claus films, like the Christmas Chronicles or Elf,
He has a
Santa's
point
this
here, I'm not gonna
immortal
lie.
deity who runs the North Pole. However, in the Santa Claus movies, he's a figurehead who can, and has, died repeatedly only to be unceremoniously swapped out. In the third film, we learned that there have been at least 50 Santas
Where did he
before
go?
Be
He like deflated like a hot air balloon, dude. Where did he go? Did he just sink into the snow? There's like an abyss, and he just sinks in it.
Ceremoniously swapped out. In the third film, we learned that there have been at least 50 Santas before Scott. Santa dying is not an infrequent occurrence in this universe, and you'd think that the death of Santa would be a big deal for the elves, but no. When Scott kills off the prior iteration of Santa at the top of the very first movie, no one bats an eye. None of the elves say hi to him or ask what happened to the other Santa. In fact, the elves actively sass him.
Pointy shoes that are older than you.
And if anything, they look annoyed that they have to deal with a newbie on the job. In short, Santa is a figurehead at the mercy of the elves, caught up in a system where he has no control.
Them
And all
damn
of this is
elves,
without even mentioning
bro.
the mysterious
I knew something was fishy about them elves. I knew I couldn't trust them elves, dude.
disappearances of the former Mrs. Clauses. The Mrs. Claus is a thing that all Santas are bound by after all. The prior Santa had to have a family too. So what happened to the former Mrs. Claus when Santa died? Suspicious much?
They killed Mrs. Claus.
Remember how I said that the only way a toy workshop in the North Pole could get in trouble
That's
is if it was
crazy.
forcing people to work against their will?
That's
well,
fucking
it's not
insane.
the elves that need the help, it's Santa. Santa is a prisoner in his own workshop. The elves entrap Scott into an illegal and fraudulent contract.
Santa has become a victim of capitalism, bro. I can't make this shit up, dude.
Scott's body
I
is
can't-
abused
you
against
gotta
his
listen
will.
to me.
Any goodwill that Scott once had with society and his family is systematically ruined by the elves. He's forced into marriage as a part of his job, and all of it for no compensation. And while the movies try to play this off as a positive thing, like, oh, look at Scott discovering the magic of Christmas, it's not. As even in the third movie,
Dude, I don't know about, bro, he got the holly jolly hose, bro.
after Scott has been a Santa for quite some time, he still regrets all of it.
Hashtag save Santa. Facts.
If this was
Facts. Save Santa.
More than you know. Wish I'd never put that red coat on. I wish I'd never become Santa.
In this world, it's not Santa that's the evil employer, it's the elves.
It's some
They're
damn
the
elves,
ones
bro.
that need to get those OSHA violations. So someone call the UN. We need
Dude,
to
I'm
defend
punting them
some
like
workers'
footballs.
rights
Quit
up
playing with me.
north. This year, don't
I'm
leave
kicking them
cookies out on
across
plate
the
for Santa
room.
Claus. Leave the phone number to a helpline. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory.
Okay. So once again, Santa Claus is real, as you can see, and he, like many of us, has become a victim to the capitalist regime. He's being forced into labor and involuntary servitude for the betterment of a larger corporation, bro. I can't make this up. You really did this. It really writes itself here, bro. Y'all think I'm just playing? I'm telling you, y'all gotta listen to me more, bro, because it was confirmed here. Santa is a victim. Santa is a victim. Santa has been victimized.